Welcome back to our podcast, Reconfiguring Reality. I am Laura Lorelei, or you could call me Laura or Lorelei.
I'm Jesse. I go by Penguin Queen IX online.
And I am Chesh. I am also known as Miss Cheshire online, but I prefer Chesh.
Okay, and today we are going to be focusing on the topic of religion.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun.
So
Um,
taboo.
yeah, I'm not sure what you guys want to cover in this, but
I
Well,
know
I
Jesse has a bunch of questions for you.
not like a bunch of questions. I've never known anyone.
I'm just here to look pretty.
you've never
Well,
known any you've never known
you're
anyone
also
to be what?
you're Mormon, right?
Mormon. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I've never like really known anyone to be Mormon. So like when you say you can't have coffee, it's still weird to me.
Okay, so let's back up
Like,
a
and
little
not
bit.
like in a disrespectful way. It's just it's not one religion I've ever really like looked into.
And I can say that about yours. So let's start off this conversation, though, with a little bit of background. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so I did look up the definition of religion on the Merriam-Webster dictionary,
Okay.
and it's interesting because, like, of course, there's like four different definitions, but like the main three that I saw is it's a personal set or institutionalized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices, the service and worship of God or the supernatural, a commitment or devotion to religious faith or observance, or a cause, principle, or system of beliefs held with ardor and faith. And I don't know what ardor is. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it's like extreme vigor or energy. So,
Okay.
a cause, principle, or system of beliefs held with extreme vigor and faith.
Okay. I had only one little issue with one of the definitions.
Yeah, which one?
The one where it says that you the supernatural
Uh
and
huh.
it only had did it have God with like a parentheses S or no?
It said the service and worship of God or the supernatural.
That to see that and it's not like I'm like I don't know how to explain it because of the fact that there are religions that have multiple deities that they worship.
Right.
So I
Right.
feel like that's and it's not necessarily believing in the supernatural because technically any religion is believing in something that could be considered supernatural in my opinion
Yes.
because there is no scientific proof really that this stuff is real.
Do you know how many religions there are in the world? According to my research, there are roughly 4,200 religions in the world.
Okay, yeah. I wonder if they're also considering um like atheists
Right. I don't know. Is that a
in
religion?
that, or if it's not a religion, it's a belief. But see, I wouldn't consider it a religion then. So
I would not
I
consider
mean,
it a religion either.
they just don't believe in
Yes, but I
anything.
wouldn't I wouldn't consider agnostic a religion either.
Well,
No,
no, no. So what agnostic is you
It's the
believe.
proof, like you want proof of it.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Agnostic means you don't follow any organized religion.
but you still believe in
So
a higher power.
yeah, so there are Christians who are agnostic, who believe in Jesus Christ and everything like that, but they don't go to church. They may read the Bible or something, but they don't sit there and say, "Oh, well, I go to church every Sunday or I go to mass every Sunday." They kind of do their own thing, but they still believe in like God and Jesus and stuff like that.
So that was
So
me
like,
during my college years. And what is the name of your religion, Jess?
okay, so there's pagans who follow what we say the old ways. And then there's Wiccans. Wiccan was made in the either late 1800s,
Mid
early
20th
1900s.
century.
Yeah. And so what it is it's this guy who took like pieces of paganism and mixed it in with like other beliefs he has. Like me, I don't believe in the rule of 3. And what the rule of 3 is is if you do something good, it comes back to you threefold. If you do something bad, it comes back to you threefold. That's no one that I know of that's pagan believes in that. But see, you have paganism, but then you have, like me, I'm a Norse pagan. I follow the Norse deity. I believe in Odin, Thor. But then you have people who are Greek, Celtic. You have people who are follow the Roman pantheon. So we all believe like in a base idea, but then we go more towards which deities we connect with more is the best way to explain it.
Did you
Is the
know
best
that?
way to explain.
Did you know that Old Norse religion was Germanic?
Yep.
That's cool. I like German.
Uh, yeah, and so like there's actually Germanic uh uh there's Germanic in a lot of the uh pagan religion. And there is actually and I have it. I'll grab it really quick. There is the Poetic Edda, which was written, and it has like stories and stuff like that. There's the normal Norse mythology. There is Havamal, which is, I guess you could kind of say like it's the best thing I could compare it to Christianity is like Proverbs, I
Right?
think is what
Okay.
it is. So like an example is like these are we say this is like Odin's wisdom,
Okay.
but a stupid man and an undisciplined one laughs at everything. He hasn't learned a lesson that would do him good. He himself isn't flawless. So it's like it's like we don't have rules we follow. To have them all to us to a point is like our guidelines.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of freaking sayings and stuff, and there's
Now,
like 100 and some. And
were you raised in a religion?
I was actually raised Catholic.
Okay.
My mother was Catholic, my father was Lutheran, which don't ask me how those two mix very well because it didn't mix very well for the English people.
Actually,
But
my father was raised Catholic and my mother was raised Lutheran.
oh, okay. So
Yeah. I was raised Lutheran
but
as well.
yeah, see, I was raised Catholic. I don't know if I was ever baptized. I don't think my mom got me baptized or anything like that. I didn't do
Which is surprising
like
because that's actually done as a baby in the Catholic Church.
yeah, but like my mom, we would go to church every once in a while, or we would go to church, especially like when her and my dad separated. All of a sudden, we went to church all the time. I went to Sunday school. I had a very bad experience with Catholicism,
Okay.
and it was because I would ask questions.
Hmm.
I am a person that likes to ask questions. I believe in science, which is weird, but a lot of pagans believe in science also. Like we understand Odin is not up in the sky. We understand their Jormungandr is not circling the earth and stuff like that. To us, they're stories. They're part. It defines what we believe in to a
So,
point.
so do you pray?
It's not like the type of praying you would probably do, but so we sit there on like on Halloween. For us, that is a sacred day for us. That is when the to us is we like I leave apples outside on Halloween, and it's like an offering to our dead ancestors, so they can come, they can you're closer to like the we call it the veil. It thins on Halloween. We do. I don't pray like I don't put my hands together and stuff, but like I do offerings where I'll light incense for whatever deity I'm deciding to do. Like my two main ones are actually Loki and Hell.
So you give offerings to Loki and Hell,
Yeah,
but you
or
don't
if
ask them
I
for guidance or assistance or anything like that, right?
to a point like you sit there and I'll light it and I'll just be like, okay, I'll sit there and like last year I was having a really rough time when I didn't have friends and stuff like that before I started RPing. And it was just like I really could use some people here, Mr. Loki, my god of tricks. Please
And it's
give me
interesting that
someone.
he gave you me and Chesh.
I
Mhm.
well, and not just you two. They gave me a whole bunch of people, and it just kept growing. Or like a lot of people, at least most of the people I've met, stay away from Hell because they misunderstand her. And Odin decided to give her Helheim as her domain. She is the goddess of the underworld. She runs the underworld. So a better way to put it is she's Hades.
Mm-hmm.
And so how we believe it is there are only a couple things where you would go to, like what most Christians would say is hell, is you commit suicide, you do horrible things to young children and stuff like that, or you commit some kind of other atrocity. Otherwise, like if let's say I'm 80 years old and I die, I would, unless the Valkyries decided I belonged in one of the other domains, I would just go with the rest of my ancestors to Helheim. Which, yes, it's a little dark and dreary, but you still have tables everywhere and food, and people are fighting and just being your typical Viking, as you would say, and you just live out your days happily. There's a really good book actually called The Way of Fire and Ice, and so it kind of explains how you meditate and to get closer to the gods and stuff like that, and it explains different realms and stuff like that. But from my understanding, Valhalla is just where the warriors, the very brave, valiant people go. And a lot of people ask me, well, if you're not fighting in wars, I was like, well, what if I fight for injustice? What if I protest? What if I die protecting someone that is being oppressed
What if you
in a
fight?
protest?
What if you fight mental illness?
Yeah, what if I became a leader in mental illness or a front person for children like my son with autism? Like
Right.
nowadays with with paganism is, yes, we follow the old ways, but then it shifts to what's happening in our lives now. Like we don't cater to it, but it's okay, we're not going to go die on the battlefield most likely. So we have other ways to get up to Valhalla and stuff like that. But like and I don't run into it all that much now, but when I do run into like a person who is prejudiced against what I believe in, and I don't believe they're real Christians, because from my understanding, real Christianity is you may tell me about your religion, you may try and get me to go, but if I say no, I'm very happy and content. Okay, I will still love you.
Like
That's that's what
me.
I believe. Yes. But the people who come up to me and say I'm going to burn in hell, yes, I am going to hell and I will be very happy about it. That kind of takes them aback because there's no point in me trying to attack them because that's what they want. And I'm not going to get anywhere with that person. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, you stay on your side, I'll stay on mine. We don't have to interact. We don't have to discuss this thing. We can still be friends though. Oh, you don't want to be friends? Okay. Like that's how I look at it now is I do not care what religion anybody is
Okay.
until
I need
they
you to.
tell me I'm wrong.
What are some of the misconceptions about your religion that you run into?
That we worship the devil. But we do not have like a devil. Another misconception is that we do sacrifice.
Animal or people?
Both still. Now, way back when, yes, there were festivals where people would volunteer to be sacrificed because they believed they would go to Valhalla for that.
I mean,
Which,
if you read the Old Testament, Christians were doing sacrifices too. So
yeah, so that, but they still believe like we sacrifice cats, stuff like that. We don't. We value all life. Like pagans are, we are the hippies that are tree huggers and just want to dance in the forest naked. Okay, maybe not naked, but we're actually very nice, calm people. And the biggest misconception that every pagan, it does not matter if, because we all use the same set of runes. Well, you had people like Hitler and the Third Reich that would take symbols from paganism, Norse mythology, and they used them and turned them into this negative stereotype. So now we're trying to take those away from the fascists, the neo Nazis that still use them.
So I do see from the dictionary.com, it's actually from the Oxford Dictionary, that pagan is defined as a person holding religious beliefs other than those of the main or recognized religions. So nowhere in the definition does it says these are Satan worshippers who's going to kill your cat. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't do research.
right.
Like, there are pastors that say that people like me should be burned at the stake. You tried that once already, it didn't work.
I could sit here and ask you questions and listen about your religion for hours and hours, but I do want to change the gears a little bit, and I want
Okay.
to direct questions to Chesh.
I don't have any answers.
You do? Okay, because
No.
I know that you were raised in a non practicing Jewish family, correct?
Yes and no.
Right. So your dad's
Semi-practicing, and then once we got older and the kids figured out what we wanted to do, we don't really practice.
right. So your dad's side of the family was Jewish, correct?
Yes.
Right. What was your mom's side?
Some form of Christianity. I can't remember which branch.
There are more than 45,000 Christian denominations globally.
Y'all need to
45,000?
pick one.
45,000. There are
4500.
45,000.
Y'all
Oh,
need to pick one.
45,000.
oh,
There are
okay.
more than 200 in the US.
Jesus.
Okay, well, so hold on. So there's Protestant, there's Baptist,
Oh, but let me.
Lutheran, Christianity. Well, so when you say Christianity, are you just using that as like a blanket term?
So, a Christian is somebody who believes in the Christ, of Jesus Christ. Okay?
Okay, but
So,
doesn't everybody?
Christianity is divided into many different groups called denominations. The first church was not an organization, but Jesus' apostles and friends. Um, the first Christian organization was the Catholic Church, which eventually broke into different denominations, especially in the 1500s as a result of Martin Luther and John Calvin.
Mm-hmm.
So Christianity is divided between Eastern and Western theology, and within these two divisions, there are six branches: Catholicism, Protestantism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Anglicanism,
Mm-hmm.
Oriental Orthodoxy, and Assyrians.
Okay, so Protestant, I'm assuming, is where Lutheranism land under.
Protestant
Catholicism,
denomination. Oh, here. The major Protestant denominational families are Adventists, Baptists, Congregationalists, Lutherans, Methodists, Pentecostals, and Presbyterians.
okay, and then Catholicisms are Catholics.
Right. I don't see the Mormons in here, so where do they fall?
I'm assuming under Protestant because, like, you guys don't believe in saints or anything, do you?
We believe in living prophets.
You say that, and all I can think of the song is like, "Oh, when the saints
Yeah.
come
Oh
marching
God.
in." That's the
Uh,
only that's what plays in my head.
Like, I've never understood saints. That's why it's like hard for me being like, okay, so they did this thing. Like, a big misconception. This is why I do not celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
well, I don't because I'm not Irish.
Well, no,
I also
no,
don't drink as much, so that's
no.
why I don't.
So that's what it got turned into. What it
Mm.
actually was the man St. Patrick.
Right, isn't that an Irish saint?
He is, but he condemned thousands of pagans to death.
Oh, jeez.
That's why he
Mm,
became a saint.
I
That's
thought it
why
you
was
I
told me
something
choose
about
not
about
this,
killing
yeah.
snakes.
that
No.
they turned the story. The pagans are the snakes.
Oh, wow.
So they
Look at me
changed
being
it.
ignorant on this subject. I
Well, no, no, it's not
apologize.
ignorance.
No, no,
It's
no.
what
Oh,
But
it's
yeah,
what has
it's
been
not
written in
common knowledge of
history.
these things.
It's so there's a saying. The people who win in history get to write the history. So of course they're going to change it to make them look better. So like that's like I'm Irish. I did not know for the longest time that that's what happened.
crazy.
So now I choose not to celebrate St. Patrick's Day because that was persecution of people like me.
Right.
So
So,
but that's the thing. Like a lot of people just St. Patrick he killed a whole bunch of he got rid of a whole bunch of snakes, and they don't look further into it to see that snakes is a metaphor
right.
for people who are pagan or just non-believers.
So, when I use the term ignorance in this next statement, I am referring to the lack of knowledge, okay?
Okay.
Because I was ignorant enough to believe the snake story, but I was also of the the mindset of I'm not celebrating St. Patrick's Day because I don't care about the Irish culture because I'm not Irish and I'm not saying that to be rude and because I hate green and I don't drink. So,
Well, my biggest thing I don't celebrate is because I don't drink, but Jesse has told me about, that entire situation,
yeah.
and I'm just like, yeah, it is a reason, but my biggest one is I don't drink and I don't see a point in celebrating whatever they want to say is the
Right.
original story,
Right.
Yeah, well,
you know?
and a lot of people do it just because it gives them an excuse to go out and get drunk. It's
Yes.
Yeah,
not
it
like
literally it's that's why why we
proceed.
have pub crawls is people literally take days
Yes.
off of work the day of and the next day just to fucking go get sloshed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the thing. So that's why I just don't drink, so I don't celebrate it. But even if it was the way it was supposed to be celebrated, I still
No,
would not.
because it was the freaking genocide of your faith.
Yeah,
So,
and I understand that a lot of people have their misconceptions. That's why I keep it like for the longest time I would not wear my Mjolnir outside of my shirt because I was scared of
guessing that's
maybe
a necklace or something?
yes. So
Okay.
so like I don't know if you wear a cross, but
I don't.
for me, so a Mjolnir is everybody calls it Thor's hammer. That really pisses me off. It is the symbol of Thor. It's Thor's hammer. But it has its own specific name. That would be like I've met people who are Catholic that get upset that I call it a cross and not the crucifix because to them they're wearing a crucifix because it has the body of Jesus on it.
Exactly. Yeah, there is a
So
difference
and
between
I
those.
understand that.
Yeah.
So I apologize and say I'm sorry. I was ignorant when it came to that. I just thought everybody called it a cross. Some people call it a crucifix. Other people who do not have like their crucifix, but it's their cross, it's just a cross. It does not have the body of Jesus on it. They don't get offended by me saying, "Oh, that's a very pretty cross."
Right.
Because I have my Mjolnir with two runes next to it,
Uh-huh.
and one of them is one of those that Hitler took, and it is considered negative, but it is a sign for protection. And then I also have because a lot. So I will say, there are some of us who have taken things from like Catholicism, and we have prayer beads.
I mean, Catholicism has taken enough from paganism that they're interchangeable. So,
Yeah. So I have prayer beads, and some of them have broken. So I've taken because they were handmade and everything. So I will take the charms. So like I have Freya, Loki, and Hel on my necklace. If my Odin breaks, I'll put my Odin on and everything. But we don't use them to like pray like Catholics do. I use it one. It's an anxiety thing. So I'll sit there and I count the beads and like I'll sit there and be like, okay, I really need some wisdom right now. Can you please give me some?
so you were
Because
saying about wearing crosses. I'm sorry. So you were
mm-hmm,
saying about wearing crosses and such, and I actually have a cross tattoo. I have two cross tattoos actually, but
I have one also.
my necklaces I wear the tree of life and I wear the triquetra. which you wouldn't think is a Christian symbol, but it
No.
is. It's also a Wiccan symbol. So
Yes.
when people see my triquetra, they automatically assume that I
Well,
practice
and
Wicca.
also with a tree of life, I could see where they would get the misconception.
But
Where,
strangely enough, the Tree of Life is a huge symbol in the Latter Day Saints or the Mormon
hmm
religion. It's huge.
well, see, and like for us, it's not called the tree of life. It's and I'm gonna butcher how it's pronounced because it's only like spoken naturally in Norwegian or something like that. But Yggdrasil is what ours is called.
Huh. So,
So,
Chesh, I know you
Mm.
don't necessarily follow a religion, but I also know
Mhm.
that you believe in the power of crystals.
Mhm.
How did you get
I
into
mean,
that?
that'd be my mother.
see, I say Chesh may not be religious, but she throws off witchy
Mhm.
vibes.
To be
I can, yeah.
fair, I yeah, I can see it, and I believe in a little bit of that stuff too. So I may be
I mean, I'm not out
Christian,
here
but
practicing spells and putting hexes on people, but
well, why not?
Why?
I need
Because
to move out
I
first
can
before I can
definitely
set
see
that
you.
shit up.
I can
yeah,
definitely
karma,
I can
karma.
I can definitely see Chesh though doing the herbalism stuff,
Mhm.
Well,
making
yeah, she's
potions and
asked
I'm
whatnot.
very much for natural remedies.
Hmm.
like she's asked me once or twice, and I've given her some like ideas of like herbs and stuff like that. I have huge books full of like herbal medicines to try before like going to a doctor to fix it. And I've given her some of them and stuff like that, but there's also some that are a little dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. I do have a book on candle magic if you want me to send it to you. Either one of
Oh,
you.
I
Sure.
yeah, send it to her. I have one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I find that very
there's a whole
interesting.
bunch I have doubles of Chesh if you.
And I do
Mhm.
find that interesting in candle magic. I find that very interesting. But I just don't fully believe in the power because I believe that God is in control of that power. You know what I
hmm
mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I got into crystals cuz my mom got into it. I mean, she also has saged every place I've lived.
Oh yeah, I sage
We're
regularly.
well, but
Actually,
with my family, we're more sensitive to that kind of stuff, the more spiritual kind of
mhm,
thing. So like when we moved into the house that we have now, and again, I've moved in and out of this house multiple times just for reasons. Um, the previous owner's wife died. Literally, we had a tree in our front yard, and she had a brain aneurysm and ran into the tree and died.
oh,
But when we first moved in, I felt a sadness, like just an unexplained sadness. And I would sit out, and we have these like sliding glass doors that look onto a lake. And I would just sit there, with an unexplained like feeling.
yeah.
And my mom had said that she had felt like a woman was looking over her,
Uh,
and she pretty much spoke out like, she saged the house and spoke to her and was just like, "You're dead. Everything's
Go away.
fine. Your
I
family's
can
moved
make you
on."
a witch's knot to hang on the doors.
I mean, if you want to, yeah.
I try and sage everything because there's just bad energy everywhere most of
so
the time.
so Chesh, you guys are sensitive to the spirit world then.
Yes.
I
Hold on, sorry.
totally believe in
So
spirits.
so we're very sensitive to that kind of thing, which is why like I have like tiger's eye for anxiety. I have all sorts of bracelets, earrings, you name it. I probably have it. As
hmm
far as crystals, we have crystals for protection. Crystals that I keep in my backpack next to my wallet for like money. To bring in, yeah, financial stability, like all that stuff. Um,
Do you also do
but the
incense?
Yes, sometimes we do incense, but my mom has a specific one, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's so that she doesn't bring spirits home with her,
Oh, interesting.
What
because
color
they
is
like,
it?
I think it's black. She hasn't worn it
It's
in a
probably
while.
onyx.
Yeah, she hasn't worn it in a while, but spirits like to attach to her and come with her, so I can't remember what house it was that she went to, but it was two little girls. Like I don't know if they were twins or anything, but it's just this little girl who was following her around, being very playful, very happy girl. But she had followed my mom to the house, and she was just like, "Okay, well, you need to go." Ooh, Laura, those are so
Oh, those are very
pretty.
pretty.
I guess I should take pictures of my. Oh, you were gonna have so many questions as to why I have some of these. Let me
I would
turn my
take a
lamp
picture
on.
of my altar,
When
but
I went home, we visited a witchy store, and I got those. And the
I
amethyst
love
is my
that you call it a
birthstone.
witchy
I
store.
do
Yeah,
too.
the hands to me are a symbol of holding things, obviously holding things, and I found it felt very Christian based to me because
Hmm.
of course you see that all the time in Christian religion. The amethyst is my birthstone, and of course then the birthstone of my twin.
Yes.
The turquoise reminds me of my twin. So this right here is kind of like me holding my twin and I together.
Hmm.
I wish I
Okay,
could remember
so
what the crystals actually stood for, though.
the picture I'm putting up is a bunch of different crystals, okay? But in the bowl, so it is actually a fossil, so it's like a fossil that got turned into a bowl. There's some what is it called? The little beads that have scents, but like potpourri, I think it's called.
Okay?
Okay.
But the crystals are there's one in here that's really hard to see, but it's purple. There's a light purple one. There are two kind of brownish ones in here. Oh, actually three brown ones because I'm picking them up right now to see them. But those are mainly when I was working at that law firm you both know.
Hmm.
These were for to keep me calm, confidence, like a serenity kind of feel. The white stick and the one that looks like a black rock. The black rock absorbs negativity and breaks off. It's what it's
Yep.
supposed to do. The white stick, I believe, is like a
It looks
protection or peace
quartz.
or something. It's
Oh.
quartz. It's a clear quartz.
Yep.
So I put them together so it sucks in the negativity and produces like a protection for me. I don't remember what the little blue ball is. The little black one next to the white quartz is I believe I get told to keep it at my computer, so I think it's something in regards to the computer.
Okay.
Um, I it's like a it's something for that. I can't remember it completely. In the bowl there is amethyst. There is it's a very shiny, almost like metallic black one as well. Another one for confidence. It's another small purple one. And then there's this like blacky pink one. I don't remember what that one's for. I also have a giant amethyst rock as well
Uh,
because it was
amethyst is
pretty.
amethyst is often viewed as a stone of peace.
Yeah, I have a hard
Yeah.
time with peace.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of amethyst. I also have rubbing stones. One of them is all black, and then another one is tiger's eye.
Turquoise is said to bring luck, peace, and protection. So, you don't believe in a god, Chesh, right?
Not particularly. Like I said earlier, I am more inclined to believe in like the Norse or the Greek, or I just don't believe that there's one specific person. Kind of like how we have Mother Nature. So like I can believe like Mother Nature is, in charge
So
of
yours would be
everything
Gaia.
pretty and beautiful. Like God, yeah. I don't think one person made everything because of how fucked up everything can get. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you're Mother Earth, Father Sky.
Or God and Goddess.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Wiccans, what they do is they there actually are funny thing is there are some Christian Wiccans,
I know.
but a Wiccans either follow a specific pantheon or they just say the god and goddess. So,
Isn't there a work of three in the Wiccan?
yep. So if let's say I hex someone, they believe that it will come back to me threefold, which means it'll come back to me three times worse.
No, but I'm speaking of the goddess, the maiden, and
Mm,
the crone.
and that would be Celtic, actually.
Really?
Yes.
I thought that was
Um,
Wiccan.
that they it might be. I never really read too much into Wiccan since it was such a new religion and it really didn't follow what I believed in. Like I've read it. Like I have a book called The Solitary Witch, which is for Wiccans, but I use it more for numerology and astrology and stuff like that.
Okay, so according to study.com, I'm looking at the Triquetra because
Mhm.
Mhm.
Triquetra, I actually did a paper on this in college. The Triquetra is an ancient symbol that consists of three overlapping and interconnected arcs. While the symbol is called Triquetra, it is also known as the Trinity Knot, the Celtic Trinity Knot, and the Holy Trinity. The Celtic Trinity Knot meaning and the Trinity Knot meaning are vastly different as they stem from different cultural beliefs, but the concept of three is what binds the two meanings together. Since there is little written evidence surrounding pre Celtic and Celtic life, scholars can only speculate regarding pagan tradition. However, from corroborating various references, they know the concept of three was a linchpin of divine belief, signifying the triple moon goddess, which encompasses the maiden, the mother, and the crone, and it connects to feminine fertility.
See, we have something like that. It's called the Volk knot,
Uh huh.
but it's three triangles and it's considered Odin's knot.
Yes.
But we don't use that because of Nazis.
Ugh. Oh,
Yeah.
Chesh, do you wear the Star David, Chesh?
Uh, sometimes I haven't here recently.
Okay. When Christianity came to Ireland, most of the pagan traditions were altered to connect with the new monotheistic religion, and symbols, such as the Triquetra, were reused. Irish
Oh,
Irish Christians took the concept of the three interlocking shapes and repurposed it to signify the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The never ending loops themselves are said to reference the concept of infinity, which is why the inner circle was later added to the symbol, which is the symbol that I wear. It's the triquetra
Mhm.
with the circle.
well, so like when my mom passed away, uh I don't know if she'd be happy with me or not, but she wanted us all to pick out a necklace to put her ashes in. And I picked one and it is two ravens with
Oh,
a heart in the middle. And part of it, the reason why I picked it is because to me, Odin has two ravens, Munin and Munin. And every day they fly out to the world to not spy, but bring back news and information back to Odin from the realm of men. I thought it was kind of touching where it's like, okay, it's still something close to me, but it's like I still can feel like my mom giving me wisdom and stuff like that when I really need it.
so what questions do you have on my? Okay, I guess I should. I'm gonna go
Well, so
back.
you're Mormon.
Right. So I was raised Lutheran. When I went to college, I stopped going to church, and then when I got pregnant, um, I decided to return to the Lutheran church, and I baptized my first child in a Lutheran church. And then I started going to a Methodist church, which is close to Lutheran, but not the
Hmm.
same. So that's where I learned contemporary Christian music and fell in love with contemporary Christian music. And then when I left my ex and moved home to Pittsburgh, I was agnostic for quite a while. And then I found a non denominational church. And after some shit went down there, I quit going to church altogether and became agnostic again.
Hmm.
Um, and then many years later, I moved in with my husband, and he had missionaries coming because he's been a member of the church for like 10 years or so. And I first refused to even come out to the room where the missionaries were because I thought it was odd. Because, of course, I
Okay.
had my misconceptions of the Mormon religion, right?
Yes.
because I didn't know anything about it. I had never heard of anybody even being in the religion until I met my husband.
So you believe in God,
Yes.
believe in Jesus,
Yes.
but you also believe in like real life prophets.
Living prophets.
So to like compare, for my understanding is um it how to explain it. So like for way back when in Greek myth in like ancient Greece, they had seers, which they believed as they could see the future and the gods talked to them and everything like that. Is
Uh
that
huh.
kind of like what a prophet is? God talks to this specific person?
Yes. So the Lord communicates to the living prophets, who then communicate it to the rest of the church.
Okay.
Right.
So it's like a seer. It
Yes. Yes.
okay.
If you want to
Well, that makes
compare it,
sense.
yeah.
I believe in that too. So
So they're the
it's just
ones. Yeah.
so that's why
Yes.
I'm
So
asking.
our living prophet is Russell M. Nelson, and then there's apostles underneath him. 12
Okay.
apostles underneath him.
So you believe in apostles too,
Yeah.
like they had in the Bible.
Exactly.
Okay. But you don't believe in polygamy or multi-marriage and
Right.
young
We
underage
do.
brides and stuff like that. Okay.
No, correct. We do believe in that the marriage does not end after death.
Now, are you guys allowed to get divorced?
Oh, that is a good question.
It's it's not frowned upon.
But you guys try and go through every avenue to not get divorced.
Correct, because the focus of the church is to keep the family unit,
Okay.
which is why you see
So
some
then,
families with 7 children, 6 children.
okay.
Yeah,
Now, um, are and this is gonna sound really ignorant on my part.
sure.
Now, when I was in El Paso, there were people who would come around, knock on doors, hand out pamphlets, but I cannot remember if they said they were Mormons or not.
Okay, if they're handing out pamphlets, they're probably Jehovah's Witnesses, which
Okay,
is not
that's
the same
totally
as
different.
right.
Okay, I wanted to make sure because that this woman came in a time where I was in a really dark place and like I was crying and I answered the door and I took her little booklet she gave me and she would just come to check on me every like she would be like, "Well, do you want to pass?" And I mean, I read them.
Uh huh.
I it didn't make me change what I believe, but it gave me a better understanding of like all she would do is just come check on me every week. Like she wouldn't even talk about her religion or anything. It's just, well, how are you doing? So that touched me where it was like, okay, you guys aren't these big horrible people that everybody makes fun of.
Right. I don't. I'm not quite confident that I know the difference between Jehovah Witness and other Christian religions. I
You've
do
tried to
I
know.
don't either.
explain the difference to me.
I do know that Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate holidays or birthdays. I do not know why.
I've heard that. They still do church and everything and I I I don't know much about them, but I wasn't sure if that's considered Mormonism or something else. So that's why I figured. But so you have missionaries come every. What is the purpose of a missionary?
A missionary is to how. Okay, so the Church of the Latter Day Saints focus on restoration, and we believe that Jesus will be resurrected again, and so will his followers. We will all be resurrected. So, the missionaries are like teachers and guides to help us learn the words of Jesus and how to live like Jesus, and help us through our next step of the journey in the religion.
Now, when you say resurrected, like in heaven or on this earth again?
Earth,
Okay, so it's like a second life, kind of.
yes,
Okay,
and they also believe we also believe that um, we were alive before we came to Earth.
reincarnation.
Well, no, not reincarnation because we will be resurrected, but our souls were existing somewhere, in another plane with God and Jesus and all that, and we were
Oh,
brought back
okay.
to Earth to find like-minded people to bring back to the Christ for the resurrection. See,
Now, do you believe in like the whole Easter where Jesus died and resurrected 3 days later or
oh
something
yeah,
like that? That's
yes,
okay.
yes, and that's why the resurrect that it's the second coming that we're preparing for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you follow like there's the King James Bible. Do you guys have like a Mormon Bible, I guess is what I would call it?
So we have several sets of scripture actually. I'm gonna pull mine out. It's really big. So I have it's four books in one. I have the Holy Bible, which is the common Holy Bible that Christian religions will read.
So like the old
Old Testament, New Testament.
okay.
Authorized King James version is the version that I have
Okay.
in front of me.
So
So
yeah, that's
I have the Holy Bible. That is the first book. That is the main book of scriptures. Then I have the Book of Mormon, which the Book of Mormon is. Mm, it's more scriptures. It's more like stories that were taken off of the gold plates that Joseph Smith was led to. Joseph Smith is the one that, through divine conversation with God, started the Mormon religion.
yep. I remember uh hearing about that.
Yes. So, another testament of Jesus Christ is what it's called. And then we have the doctrine and covenants, which is kind of like another version of the Proverbs.
Okay.
And then we have the Pearl of Great Price, which I have no idea. I keep referring to it as the Pearl Book because I cannot remember the name of it ever. And I believe it's more like, it's not a scripture per se, I don't believe. I believe it's more like stories of Joseph Smith. So, I would have to get somebody more educated on me because I am very new to the church. I'm still learning.
Well, yeah, no, but it's just you can dumb it down to
Yeah, well,
Jesse knowledge.
I could if I knew the correct answers.
Well,
But some of
no,
these
but
things I'm still learning about myself, like the Pearl of Great Price. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Now, I could bring my husband in here, and he could answer that for you because he's knowledgeable in all this. Some of the other things that we follow are the 13 Articles of Faith and the Words of Wisdom. The Words of Wisdom are guidelines from the prophets that were handed down from God, and they're the ones that, you shall remain clean, therefore no hot drink, which they interpret as coffee and tea,
hmm
and no smoking, no substances, stuff like that. And that is all like a sign of sacrifice and sign of commitment to your commitment to God. And your when you're baptized, you make promises, so to speak.
okay.
So that is your way of showing that, yeah, I'm going to uphold my promises to the Lord by keeping myself clean and pure.
Okay.
So I do know Mormons that do drink coffee, and they still come
Now,
to church.
what about tattoos?
Tattoos is a funny thing because, of course, they believe that your body is a temple. But if you ask any of the bishops of the wards or the president of the wards or branches
hmm
about their thoughts on tattoos, they don't look poorly on me because I have tattoos. And if I ask one of them if I should get another one, their answer will be
To pray on it.
pray
I
on
think you
it.
told me that.
Pray
But
on it.
okay, but so you say your body's a temple. The Sistine Chapel is a temple, and it has all these pretty colorful
As
art
art, right?
pieces.
Exactly. Exactly.
So okay, so it's not, and I will say that I can admit that I was totally wrong in what Mormonism was.
Uh huh.
Like I still don't understand like the no cop, but that's just like I probably
Because
if
they
I
they
if
want
I
us to be clean of substances that can cause addiction.
oh yeah, I'm totally addicted to coffee, but I
Exactly.
I would probably be one of the like if I ever converted to Mormonism, I would still be that tattooed caffeinated Mormon
Well, I
that
mean,
is
caffeine is not discouraged. You're allowed to drink soda.
So it's not the caffeine, it's the coffee.
Right.
What about monsters?
They do not discourage caffeine.
Okay, so that was a misconception I had. I thought it was caffeine.
It used to be.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think I remember you telling me this that it used to be caffeine, but they changed it and it's just coffee.
Yeah, but Divine Intervention came down and they changed it to coffee, black tea, and green tea.
Yeah, see, and it changes with the times.
Yes, it does.
So okay.
Yeah, but and there are 13 articles of faith that we follow, and there's actually one that I want to say to you guys because it's interesting because you wouldn't think, you think when you hear about religions, kind of feel like it's all like Catholic against Lutheran and all of that,
Mhm.
right? The 11th article of faith states, "We claim the privilege of worshiping Almighty God according to the dictates of our own conscience, and allow all men the same privilege. Let them worship how, where, or what they may."
See, I like that. I can get behind that, and
Yes.
I can defend Mormons now.
Yes. To me, that is a huge, like, encompassing of what the Christian religion should be.
You you said, and I can't remember how you explained it, but it was something about, is it baptizing someone who's already passed
Oh,
into the,
baptisms for the dead, which
yes.
I actually did yesterday. So
Oh, okay.
we have our branch buildings and everything where we go to do the sacrament, which is like communion in the Catholic Church. You
Mhm.
get the water and the bread for the bread of life, and or the bread of the
Yeah, the
body, and
the
whatever.
body of Christ
It's
and the
it's
blood of
our
Christ.
it's our recommitment to our baptism, and then we have a temple, and there's one temple for several branches in the area,
Mhm.
and we go and we are baptized as a proxy for people who have passed. So there's a huge like database, and it's all like ancestry. We're big on finding family trees and all of that, and finding our dead relatives, and we will be baptized for a proxy for our past family members so that they have the choice in their death of whether or not to meet past missionaries to learn more about our religion and how to get closer to God.
Okay. Now, so let's say I passed and I was part of your family.
Sure.
Now, if you know knew like 100%, I would not want, like, my faith is 100% sealed. I was pagan my whole entire life. You would not do something like that. Like, it has to
That's
be like,
incorrect because
okay.
after 100 years, I can't tell them not to. So if you've been dead for a
Oh,
hundred years and they find you in the family tree, they don't need permission from the family member to do it.
okay, but like, like your, let's say your grandmother. I don't know if your grandmother is passed or not,
Both of my
but
grandmothers have passed, and I have asked both of my parents if I could do a baptism of the dead for them, and they both said no because they were religious in life. But
mhm. Okay.
I have done it for my aunt, who is passed also. I got permission to do it for my aunt. And it's not saying that my Aunt Judy is now part of the Church of Mormon, not part of our church. It is saying that I have invited her to learn more about the religion on
In
whether or
the
not,
afterlife.
in the afterlife, whether or not she wants to join us.
Okay, so it's not saying, oh, they are part of our religion now, their spirit belongs to us. It's, here's an open door for you to learn about a religion, and the spirit gets to make that choice.
Right. Just like I give you
Okay.
in life, I have opened the door to you. If you ever want to come join us at a church, whatever, or learn more, it's the same thing, basically, only in the
Oh, so I
afterlife.
could, like, if let's say I came down to visit you, I could go to church with you on Sunday, and it wouldn't be like, oh, why is this person here?
Nope.
It would just be like, you
You would
wanted to learn more.
you would be called an investigator
What,
because you're
that sounds
investigating the religion.
okay. Just the way it came off was like, I was like being a dirty investigator, like
No,
trying to find dirt. Okay.
no, we like
So it,
investigators actually.
okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, we definitely don't go around and be like, Here's the Book of Mormon. Let me beat you up in the head with it. The missionaries' first meeting, they will tell you, I've given you a copy of the Book of Mormon. Read it and ask God if you believe it to be true. Because it's up to us to determine if we believe it to be
Okay.
true or not.
See, and I'm used to like it, the negative aspect of, oh, they're just gonna push religion on me and tell me like, oh, this is what you need to believe. I never thought I could find people like I could be comfortable discussing my religion with
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that anytime I ever have, like I've always had to hide it.
Yes.
Even when I got married and everything, I didn't even tell my ex-husband what I believed in because it's always been a deal breaker. And when he told me, oh yeah, we're Bible thumpers and all this other kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into?
Right.
I mean, he's asked questions and stuff like that, but it's one of those things where it's just like I've always kept my mouth shut. And then as I got more comfortable with everybody, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hide it anymore. If they got an issue with it, too dang bad.
Well, I'll be honest with you and say that I've always been open and forthcoming about being a Christian and believing in God. But previous to becoming a member of the Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter Day Saints, I was very hush hush on my relationship with God because it was my relationship with God.
Yeah, and that's like with me, it's my relationship with my God.
Well, and
It's
I feel like that's how a lot of people should be is it's a personal relationship. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it, but
Right.
don't
I'm not going to
I
force
don't
you
want to
to
say
open up and
don't
discuss it.
force other people to listen to it. Don't force other people to, you know, try to convert them to what you believe. Don't shove your shit down their throat kind
I
of
mean,
thing.
I would
yeah.
love for my children to be part of the church so that I can be sealed to them in the temple, which is something else that we do, and it's
Well,
long and
there's a thing
complicated. But
in
I
Judaism
can't tell
that
my
if
children to be part of my church.
yeah. There's a thing in Judaism that if you have tattoos, you can't be buried next to your family in a Jewish cemetery.
Yeah, there's
Oh, really?
also, I mean, long time ago,
Mhm.
if you had a child out of wedlock, you were buried separated from the rest of the cemetery.
Yep.
We don't like have like definitive proof that Vikings had tattoos or people who of Germanic descent and stuff like that because of course all you're finding are just bones.
Dead bodies.
Yeah,
But there's nothing saying that we can't drink or because I mean hell, it's meat. Like meat is part of the. I mean they
yeah, yeah.
people who followed Norse religion pillaged and plundered partly because it wasn't part of the religion, but it was because they didn't have any.
Right, and you have to
But
think
you
that most Catholic or most Christian religions, when they do communion, you get wine instead of water.
yes, and I mean unless you're under the age of 21, then they give you grape.
Nope,
But
not
oh,
the
see they
Lutheran Church.
see the Catholic church I went to had. But but that's the thing, like don't have anything against tattoos. That we want you as you are.
Yes, and
You come tattooed, pierced.
that's
Uh,
how the church is here. Like, because I had to teach I'm a Sunday school teacher. I don't know if y'all know that or not. I teach
yeah,
children 7 to 11 years of age, and the discussion of the body, your body is the temple, kind of threw me for a loop because not only am I new and I don't know how to answer their questions, but like I have 27 tattoos. My ears are gauged. Like I'm not your typical looking Christian.
yeah.
So, but everybody was like, no, no, we love that you have the tattoos.
Well,
Well,
and it
because
makes you different, and it shows that just because you have tattoos, piercings, colored hair,
Hmm.
that you all can believe in the same things, you
and
know?
it may make them feel like they're not alone in wanting tattoos or
Exactly.
something.
Right.
But like the kid, you like you said, you teach kids that see you and see the tattoos that you have. Whether they find them cool, whether it's just like, oh, cool, she has body art, whatever, I don't care. But they can look at you and have you as an example of, I can be in this religion. I can be, in a non-religion, whatever it may be in their lives, and go, but I can have body art if I want. I can have tattoos if I want.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
who's to
I can have
say?
piercings if I want, is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Well, and who's to say that they don't actually? not like, let's say they sit there and they pray to God, and to them God speaks and says it's okay for you to get your tattoos.
It all depends, yeah, on what we hear.
So,
So,
Mhm.
well, thank you for joining us today, discussing just a little bit about religion here. We do
It's such
look,
a big topic.
yes,
yeah, we'll have to do a part 2.
and we'll try to do a part two, but we need your guys' input on what other aspects of religion we should be discussing.
Yeah,
Any
I like
100%.
questions
that.
that you have for
I mean,
any of
there's
us?
so many things that we could touch on, but we of course have to do research.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
So
and of
just leave
course,
questions or ideas in the comments, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we will
So,
see you guys next time.
yes.
100%. We love you guys. Thank you.
Oh,
Mwah, mwah, mwah,
and
mwah, mwah.
thank you for joining us on Reconfiguring Reality. Again, I am Laura Lorelai, or Laura,
I'm Jesse.
I'm Josh.
and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.